and welcome to the Skating Lesson Podcast, where we interview influential people from the world of figure skating so they can share with us the lessons they learned along the way. I'm Jennifer Kirk, and by now I'm sure you know I'm a former U.S. ladies competitor and a 3-time world team member.
I'm David Leeson. By now I'm sure you know that I was nothing in the elite skating world, but I am a figure skating blogger and a current adult skater.
Before we talk about this week's guest, Dave and I just want to thank you guys for all the comments and the emails we received after our interview last week with Debbie Thomas. That was not our best interview, and it was definitely, I think, a learning experience, kind of a rough experience as well. The interview that we ended up running was about an hour and a half. However, in its entirety, the interview was over 2.5 hours, and as the editor, I had to kind of do some manipulation and pick and choose what we were going to use, because during the actual interview, there were a bunch of distractions and we had some technical issues at the end. So it was a little bit disappointing. It was a tough interview. But again, we take all of your feedback and we really appreciate it. We're digesting it all. We're working hard to improve our interviews in the future. And hopefully you'll see those improvements with our interview this week.
Yeah, it was not a fun or easy week for us. I think a lot happened. So we are extremely thankful for all of the comments that we got, all the constructive criticism, the Facebook comments, the emails. We are really taking it into consideration and look forward to improving. We don't feel it was our best work, but we're looking forward to the future. That said, we are extremely excited to welcome Caitlin Yankowskas to the podcast today. Caitlin is the 2011 United States National Champion in pairs. She placed 6th at that year's World Championships, although she recently had to withdraw from nationals due to an injury. We're excited to catch up with Caitlin about what life has been like and her plans for the future. So Caitlin, you and Joshua Reagan recently withdrew from nationals due to injury. We've heard that you've both been battling injuries. So what is the status of both of your health?
We did have a few injuries this past season and we weren't able to compete at nationals, but we're both feeling better. Josh is feeling better and I'm definitely getting healthy and everything's going really well so far.
So what were your injuries, actually?
Josh had a broken rib, and I just recently tweaked my knee, but it wasn't anything too major. But we weren't able to really get it together fast enough. We only had like 4 weeks till nationals, and it just wasn't enough time to put together 2 decent programs. And when we compete, we want to be ready, and we're definitely working hard now for next season.
Great, Caitlin. And nationals were last week, so I'm sure you watched, and I'm wondering, what were your impressions of the pair event?
To be honest, I didn't watch any pairs, but
Was there a reason for that?
I was sad. I really wanted to be there, but Josh and I were very, very busy training. We're very, very focused on each other, and it was just a little bittersweet. We're doing so much better now, and nationals was just so soon. We just focused on ourselves.
So you're known for having such a regal presence on the ice. People refer to it as the it factor. Is this something you worked on with dance training?
Thank you.
Do you think it can be taught, or?
I have a huge background in ballet. I started with ballet, and I used to do ballet, lyrical, tap, jazz, hip-hop, all of that stuff. So I've always been a performer, and I really do think that having that background helps with my skating. And I think I've always been very addicted to ballet, and I love the stories that they tell, and I think I've always tried to portray that. But yeah, definitely. I think you can learn to present yourself, but I didn't know that I had an it factor. That's so cool.
Do you practice ballet now, Caitlin?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how often?
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
Just at the rink. It's just to help skating.
Yeah, I grew up doing ballet as well, so it does. It really helps skating. And growing up in the sport, I want to know, who were your idols? Who did you look up to?
Oh my gosh. Well, God, I loved your skating. I thought you were amazing. I loved Michelle Kwan, obviously, and
Dave will like that. He's a big Michelle Kwan fan.
She's amazing. She was at Champs Camp this past summer, and I was like in a state of shock and awe. I was like, I love you. But I've always really loved Shannon Zhao, and I'm a huge fan of Alyona Savchenko. She's always been a huge idol of mine, and it's been pretty cool to compete against her now, but I think she's an amazing skater.
Is it intimidating competing against someone you've looked up to?
No, not at all. I think it's actually kind of like an honor to be on the ice with them. I've never really been intimidated by that.
I like that. So Dave talked about your it factor, and I have to agree with him. I admire so much how you present yourself on the ice. But I want to know, what do you think are your strengths as a skater?
I think my artistry is definitely a strength. You know, the past few years I've been really focusing on my jumping, and I think that's good. But I think the overall, like, musicality of my skating and my line, I think that's very, very good. I've always been about the story, and the elements just help to add to the story. So I think that's always helped my skating to be different.
How did you get into pair skating? And obviously, you started off in singles like many people. What made you want to get thrown and to really be the one being lifted and taking all those nasty falls?
To be honest, when I first started pairs, I really wasn't into it at all. I did it because one of my really good friends, Donnie, had asked me to skate with him, and I was like, yeah, it would be really kind of cool to skate with, you know, one of your best friends. And I thought skating with a boy would be fun, and I always liked the idea of, you know, having the ability to do singles and pairs, you know, tell a story by yourself and then tell a story with your partner. And it kind of correlated with ballet in that way. You know, they have their solo and then they do their pas de deux. And I thought that, you know, it'd be really cool to do that with figure skating, because figure skating was my real love.
How did you team up with John Coughlin?
I had moved out to Colorado in 2007, and I was just working with Delilah, and I moved out there without a coach, without a partner, and she said that she would coach me and help me find a partner, and I was super excited to be out there. It was a different scene. You know, and she had made some calls, and then I went down to Liberty to compete in the junior singles event, and we like bumped into each other, and at that point, you know, John and his former partner Bridget had just broken up, and Delilah was talking to John, and you know, we kind of just hooked up that way. And then 2 weeks later we had a tryout, and you know, 3 weeks later we decided to make it official, and we decided to skate together. So it was kind of, I'm sorry.
No, what were your initial impressions of him?
I thought he was huge. I thought he was super, super tall, and I thought that he was wicked good. I thought he was way out of my league because I was just a baby novice, and he was, you know, this big shot junior, senior, and I was like a little girl, like skipping to skate with him. I was just very, very excited.
When you teamed up with John and when you first moved to Colorado Springs in 2007, you stopped skating singles at that point. What went into that decision to focus solely on pair skating?
At that point, you know, Delilah sat me down and she was like, you know, you're moving from novice to senior in pairs. You know, there's a lot of responsibility. There are a lot of new elements that you need to learn. I think it's wise for you to just solely focus on pairs. I think that's where your strength is. I think that you're going to make it big. And she completely supported, you know, my pairs career. And I sat down with my parents because that was a big decision for me. I'd always done both, and I really wanted to, but you know, we kind of made a family decision that it was wise to just focus on one. And you know, when I did start training full time in Colorado, I mean, I didn't have any time for singles, so I was really happy to just do pairs. And I always loved pairs, you know, and the more I did it and the more I got into it and the better we got. I just it's been my passion ever since.
Now, when you made the decision to go into pairs, were you fully prepared that there were potential for splits and, you know, have to look for a partner and all of that stress, and that the U.S. doesn't always do well internationally? Were you prepared for that life could be a little bit challenging?
To be honest, I think I was very, very lucky to find a partner so fast, going from novice to senior. And I think I was a little naive to the fact that like pairs wasn't as good. In the United States as it was internationally. But at that point, there were stronger teams too than there are currently. But I was always brought up, with my former coach, Alex Vlasov. He always said, pairs is like a marriage. You stick together, you work it out. And I always, kind of had that mindset that when you are in a team, you do work it out. So I was a little bit shocked.
Okay. Now, there are often rumors in skating that Delilah really clicks better with her male skaters. Did you ever click with her personally?
Yeah. She was wonderful. She was a phenomenal coach. Really, she really helped me to get as good as pairs as I am, and I am very, very grateful to have had that part of my career out there.
What do you think her strengths are?
She's great at technique, twist, throws, really transitioning from the baby elements to the harder elements, from doubles to triples. And she's a taskmaster. She really just follows you around the rink and gets you to do it, gets you to get consistent and be comfortable out on the ice. And she really helps to get the fear out of your skating.
And Caitlin, you and John, you made such an aesthetically pleasing pair on the ice. He was really tall, you were so regal and beautiful. So I'm wondering, how did your personalities mesh?
We were always very goofy together. We were very, very good friends, and he was always funny, and I was always a little more serious. But he would crack some jokes, and we would just end up in laughter, and it was just we were always very good friends.
I think that's the best, when you skate with your best friend, it would seem. So for a few years, you guys volleyed back and forth at nationals between 6th place, then 7th place, then 6th place. So I'm sure that must have been so difficult. What do you think was keeping you guys from the medal podium and really that top echelon of U.S. pair teams?
Gosh, I don't know. I think it had to do with our training. It took us a few years to really learn how to train together. And, finally in 2010, we got a chance to train really well after coming off of, being 6th and 7th. And we finally learned how to train together. And then the next year we finally learned how to compete together. And I think it just took us a little bit longer to get used to being senior together. And I think it came maybe from an experience on my part, and we just had to train a little bit better.
When you talk about having to train better, what do you mean? Like, you guys were on different
consistency and running programs, and being comfortable with each other on the ice and having confidence in our elements.
Okay, so in 2011, you talk about all the pieces came together. That was really a breakout season for you. You win your first Grand Prix medal. You win a national title. Must have been so exciting. So what changed specifically between 2010 and 2011?
Our elements just got very, very, very consistent. We really came together as a team, and there were a lot of off-ice troubles that were difficult, and skating seemed to really help to relieve some of those emotions. And, we were very there for each other at that point. And I think it just came from the desire to want to get to that next level and win. And, really, it was just the consistency, and we loved what we were doing together.
Now, the 2011 National Championships were really like a 3-horse race, yet you and John were really the favorites. So what was it like competing, knowing that this was potentially your moment?
I vividly remember the first day of official practices at the main arena. I was extremely overwhelmed. I was like, oh my Lord. It was just, I was very aware that we were the favorites, and I was kind of a hot mess. And Delilah just like looked at me and she was like, you know what? You did so well in the Grand Prix. Just have faith in that. You're going to be fine. Just skate like you're at home. And, and John and I were just kind of like talking off the ice after the practice. He was like, don't worry about it. We've been doing so well. You'll be fine. And I was like, okay. So I like calmed myself down. And, from that point on and the rest of the week, I kind of just envisioned that we were back in Colorado and everything was fine. And we were just training at home and everything just, it went the way that we had been training for the past like 8 months. And it was just very fun and easy and effortless. And it was really exciting to be the favorites. You can just kind of ride that wave.
Can you really, though, imagine yourself being back in Colorado when all the cameras are around you and in your face and you hear the music going on for NBC? Can you really do that and imagine that you're back in Colorado?
It was very easy to tune out the cameras in NBC because we had such an important story to tell and share with everyone, and that was our main focus. So it was just, we really just connected together, and we were just very focused on each other. So, yeah, it kind of was easy to just think about being at home.
So heading into Worlds, how was training going that year?
Good. I mean, going into Worlds, it was a little bit of like a plateau and a limbo because the earthquake happened, and we weren't really sure, where we were going to go and when it was going to be. So we weren't really sure how to train. But I mean, once we found out, we had, a solid 6 weeks to train, and it was good. I mean, we were tired and sore, and it was a very, very long season, but training was fine. Exciting.
To the outside world, everything looked to be going so well that season. Your medals, obviously the results were great. What was the relationship like behind the scenes? Was there tension we didn't see, or was everything going well?
I mean, there wasn't tension. We were always good friends. I mean, obviously things didn't work out for a reason, but I mean, there was no animosity or anything like that.
Now, there have been a myriad of rumors about your split, and I think we're just going to touch upon it and move on. The pervasive rumor is that John and Delilah had a tryout with Katie Denny before the World Championships when she was visiting her sister. Is that true, and how aware are you of what was going on?
I don't know if that is true or if that is false. I don't think I would ever want to know that.
Okay.
I just... I never really asked questions. It was that was what he wanted, and I kind of just was. John was like, I always considered him my best friend, and I wanted him to be happy, and I wanted the best for him. And if he wasn't happy with his skating with me, then I mean I was just I wanted the best for him.
I think that's so mature, Caitlin. Not many people, probably your age, would be able to have that perspective. So I admire that a lot.
Thank you.
There have also been rumors about when you knew about the split, as Dave touched upon a little bit. When did you actually find out? Did you know anything? Because you guys skated so well at Worlds. I'm sure it must have just been shocking to you to hear this. So was it something where you found out right after that event, or was it a few months later?
Well, I mean, I had heard the rumors right after Nationals, and I mean, at that point we had just won, and I had 2 major competitions to go to. So, I really tried to tune it out. I mean, obviously it was always in the back of my mind, but I mean, I always loved skating with him. So, I mean, I really just kept training, and I wanted to continue making our long program the best it could be, because it was in honor of his mother, and I thought that was the most important thing to think about. That was the priority, and that really helped to get, I think, the team through both competitions. But I mean, I was definitely aware of everything, but I didn't officially know that we were going to split until the day after we got back from Moscow.
Wow. So
that's when he did it.
When you had that conversation, because I've been broken up with by guys, but never like a skating partner. But I know there's always that question of why. And you talk about Alex Vlasov saying a pair team is like a marriage, you have to stay together. Did you ask why? Because you and John seem to have everything going for you, and I think the skating community were still shocked about it because you were national champions. You finished the highest at Worlds, I think, of a pair team in the past 9 years from the U.S. And you skated so well at that competition. So were you able to ask why, or was it just he told you this news and you wanted to kind of lick your wounds in private?
I think everybody. I mean, obviously, everybody's like, what happened, and there's obviously like a lot of rumors, but it was just a point where that was where the team just ended, and it's complicated. I mean, I think it's honestly what he wanted. I mean, he was going through such a hard time, and it was just time for us to part ways.
Now, your close friend was his roommate. Drew Meekins at the time was rooming with John. Did he know what was going on? Because I know that if Jenny Kirk and I were good friends and I roomed with her partner...
Everybody knew what was going on. I mean, it was no secret.
Okay.
Everybody knew.
Okay, because she would kill me if I didn't tell her. Like, I would be getting that 5 a.m. phone call.
No, I mean, gosh, I had heard the rumors from multiple people from the rink, and I was just like, I don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss. Like, let me train, let me compete, let me finish my season with some dignity.
Well, let me just... I'm sorry, I just need to say that your focus and the way that you were able to block that out and skate so well at Worlds, I really admire that. So that's very commendable.
I think we both do. Yeah.
It really is.
So did it help having a program, like a story that you really believed in, to kind of carry through all that pressure and all of the craziness that was going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been the type of skater that I need to tell a story. Like, I like to pick out music for certain reasons, and I want to be able to portray some sort of story to the audience so that they can enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying it, and it always helps me skate well. I mean, even with Josh now, I mean, like last year we did have programs and we had a story, and it was fun to skate too, and it just makes training fun, and it makes competing fun, and it takes some of the stress away.
I agree. So after you and John broke up, you moved to Michigan to train with Marina Zueva. Did you ever consider staying in Colorado, and what went into your decision to move to Michigan?
I think I needed a change of pace. I mean, I loved training in Colorado. I mean, there were phenomenal coaches out there. And I mean, I had 5 of the greatest pair years of my life out there, but I needed a change, and I wanted to get into a different environment with different, coaching and everything. And, when I got to Michigan, I had tried out with a few different coaches. And when I got to Michigan, I thought, this is where I need to be. Marina has been my choreographer for like 7 years. I'm familiar with her. She, has all these phenomenal dancers. I think I can really take my skating to the next level being here. And, obviously Johnny is a great technician. He's had Brooke and Ben and multiple, Marcy and Aaron and multiple other like pair teams that have done really well. So, I mean, I've just really enjoyed it out here.
So what is the training camp with Marina and Johnny like compared to training with Delilah? What are the differences between the two?
I would say the only difference is that out in Colorado there are pairs, and out in Michigan there are ice dancers.
So there's not as many throws. Yeah. So very similar in terms of their training tactics.
Yes.
So when you first came to Michigan, you were partnerless for a while, and you were training on your own. What goes into, if you're a pair skater and you're on the ice training, what do you do every day, and how did you keep yourself motivated when you were searching for a partner?
I have to say it was awful. I hate skating by myself. When you're part of a team like a pair skater and ice dancer, it's very difficult to go into the rink every day knowing that you don't have someone to hold your hand, and you can't do what you really love. And I just at a few months into it, I would say like around December, I looked at Johnny and I was like, I don't think anybody's going to come around. And he looked at me, he was like, well, you got to stay in shape, and you never know, someone's just going to pop out of nowhere. And I was like, yeah, okay, Johnny. And then like, boom, 2 months later, not even, like 6 weeks later, Josh just showed up, and I was like, oh boy, I definitely should have stayed in shape. But luckily, he has a lot of patience, and here we are today skating with each other.
That's great.
So you briefly teamed up with former roller skater Matteo Garis during that time.
Yeah, we were just training partners.
Okay.
We were never like an official team. We were just helping each other out.
Was there potential that you would be a team, or was it ever like considered that you would skate with him? Or
no.
Okay. Now you went to the 2012 National Championships and were interviewed on TV. I cannot imagine going to nationals the year after a split. I had won the year before. Why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know. When I was walking down the hallway of the rink going to that interview, I thought to myself, oh boy, what am I doing? But I really wanted to keep my name out there. And, when US Figure Skating had called me and said, oh, NBC wants to interview you, I thought, this is happening for a reason. I should really try to, stay in the public eye and let everyone know that I'm still training and everything. And I just was more flattered than anything that they wanted to have an interview with me.
Do you work out extra hard those 2 weeks before, knowing that you're going to be on TV? All these skaters are in program shape. You're not doing a long day. So
yes, I did. It's like you want to look your best. Now, when you were getting interviewed and you were backstage, you had to watch John win a second national title, this time with his new partner. What was that experience like? How difficult was that? And do you guys have any sort of a relationship today? So if you run into them backstage at that competition, did you talk to him and Delilah? How was that experience?
When I had watched them win nationals, I was I was actually happy, they deserved to win. They were the best team there, and I've always been the type of person that if you skate the best that day, then you deserve to win. So it was fine, and when I do run into them, because I did see them at Champs Camp and everything's fine, everything's cordial. There's no animosity there, and there's no awkwardness. We're all part of Team USA, so I'm not gonna start like a rumble or anything. I don't really have feelings. I'm happy. I'm really happy right now.
I'm so happy that you're happy. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
So when you were at Nationals that year, you did say you were looking for a partner. And I've always wondered, what goes into that process? Is it something like after the event, you go up to a pair team that doesn't skate very well and you go up to the guy and say, hey, I'm single. Do you want to have a tryout? Or is it more about keeping your face in the mix? You don't do that?
So long, no.
Okay, so it's about showing up and being there. What is that process?
The partner search process is it's very difficult. I think it's extremely wrong to go up to a team that is still in a partnership and say, hey, do you want to have a tryout? I don't think that's ethical or right. I would never ever do that. I've never done that, and so it's more of like a waiting game. You want to let everyone know in as many ways as possible that, hey, I'm here, partnerless. I'm ready for a tryout if you want to have one. But it's difficult a lot of times when teams don't skate well. Of course, you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I could have a tryout with them. But I would never act on that. So it's just a waiting game. It's tough. It's really difficult. Stressful.
Yes, sounds like it.
Yeah.
It seemed like for a couple of years there were so many fans who wanted you and Rocking to skate together because you both were so strong skaters and didn't have partners. But you're too tall or he's too short. So how tall are you? Are you that tall for a pair skater?
No. I would say I'm a little under 5'3". I know I've heard many people say, oh, she's 5'5" or she's 5'4", but no, I
think it looks longer because you have the extension and the toe is pointed and you just look longer on the ice when you're in the lifts.
I like, Dave, how you're doing the arm motions. You're trying to like channel Caitlin.
I'm channeling Ave Maria. You know, it's just happening.
You're nailing it.
What extension?
We do love your extension. So you're currently skating with Josh. How did you and he pair up, and what can you tell us about your partnership?
We paired up in March of last season, and I didn't know him too well. I knew that he was from Texas and that he had skated with David Kirby, and I always thought that they were good and everything. He was not on my radar at all because I thought that they were fine in their partnership, and he had called me after the breakup, and he's like, hey, I want to have a tryout with you. And I was like, yes, you're 6 foot, and half an inch. Like, yes, let's have a tryout. And it ended up going really well. And, unfortunately, last year, we did have a few boo-boos, but, we're extremely motivated now, especially it being like a week after nationals. We so desperately want to compete, and, I'm just really, really excited. I'm very, very happy. We have very similar goals, and we've been working hard. And he's so much fun to skate with. He's so nice. He's reliable. He's really great. I'm very, very lucky.
So what can you tell us about your partnership? Will you get new programs from the ice? What were your programs this year? I'm sure people will want us to know. What were you planning on skating to?
Our short program was going to be Daphnis at Chloe. It's kind of like a spunky little fairy piece of music. And our long was O Mio Bambino. And that was more romantic and lovey and very, very pretty. But we are going to get new music for next year. We kind of want to put this past season behind us and move forward. And, we've been working hard on, having our line better. And, obviously the elements are now clicking even better than they were. And, we want to tell a story. So we're going to pick music out that's going to help us tell a beautiful story for next season. Because obviously next season is the Olympic trials.
So what are your realistic goals for next year? Are you planning on doing summer competitions?
Oh, yes.
Have you thought about... Are you planning on continuing on till 2018? Like, have you thought that far? Like, what are your goals?
We definitely plan on doing a bunch of summer competitions, getting our faces and names out there as much as possible, doing shows, doing competitions, doing all of that stuff. We have talked a bit about the future, but I think right now we're just really focusing on this season and making ourselves be the best skaters that we can be for each other. And if we do well, the future is so promising.
What would you say are your strengths together as a team? What does he offer, and what do you bring to the team?
He is big and strong.
Always a good thing.
Yes. No, he is. His technique is extremely consistent. He's a phenomenal thrower. He's a great lifter. He's very reliable that way. And obviously I can help bring like a different artistry factor to the team. And I think together our look is very beautiful, and the way that we skate with each other it's really, really nice. We have a beautiful line.
I'm excited to watch you guys compete.
I'm so excited to compete.
It'll be great.
I'm like a little kid.
So you seem so at peace and happy now. Have you always been this way, or what was the process like of forgiveness and whatnot? How did you get yourself?
If you see me before a competition, I'll be a little more stressed.
Okay.
No, I would say in 2011, I would say from May on until I met Josh, it was a very dark time in my life. it was very, very difficult. I mean, it was depressing, and I mean, because I couldn't do what I loved to do, and it was just difficult watching, all of my friends and competitors, go out there and skate, and I just so desperately wanted to continue doing that, and I couldn't. That was very, very hard, and I would say, my happiness and my peace now comes, from skating pairs with someone who wants to skate pairs as equally as badly as I do, and we love skating with each other, and I've been really into yoga.
Okay.
Dave's into yoga too.
Yeah, I was so excited because when Jenny called you the other day, you were doing Bikram, and I do Bikram. So what?
I love it.
Yes. So let's talk about it. How often are you doing yoga? Are you doing ballet? And what is your training like?
My training is very, I think, typical for a pair girl. I mean, obviously, I want to stay in shape, so I do cardio and some weights. But I've been really into my Bikram yoga for the past 2 months. I had done it, maybe like twice a week back in Colorado for a few months, and I had stopped when I moved to Michigan because I couldn't find a good studio. But like right before Christmas, like right after Thanksgiving, I found this studio that was like 20 minutes away from the rink, and for Bikram yoga, and it was wonderful. I loved the teaching, I loved the atmosphere, I loved what they would say in class, and I've been doing it almost every day ever since, and I'm actually doing a 30-day challenge, and I'm on day 23.
Wow!
Oh,
Congratulations!
Are you really sore? Like my hamstrings get so sore after a while from doing it.
Yes. No one understands. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, you're doing Bikram, you're just like in a sauna or a steam room, and you're just stretching, but it's hard work.
That
It's really hard
pose
work.
is like death when it comes around.
Let me tell you, I always have to take a few gulps of water before that one and collect my thoughts and find my inner balance, because I'm like, that intimidates me.
You make Josh do it with you?
I have begged him to come, but he is like, no way. He's like, I'm going to go upstairs to the gym and lift some weights. Be a man.
Are you in a class with other skaters? Because I imagine everyone hating you in that class if you have like such flexibility and are in such good shape. Like it is a rough 90 minutes, and if the person next to you is like really good, and there is some envy there.
I know. No, actually. None of the skaters at the rink go to. Actually, my little girlfriend Bryn, she sometimes goes to the yoga studio with me, but no one else does Bikram yoga. I think it's either they don't have enough time or they're doing other things. But the place that I go to, there are a lot of good people that are better than I am, and I mean it's very motivating for me.
Are your quads dead after a day of skating to then go and do all the chair poses? And...
The first 3 weeks of skating and doing Bikram, I really felt it. I would go into the rink and I would be like walking like an old woman, and Josh would be like, "What did you just do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I did a Bikram class last night." But after a while of getting used to it, I'm really not that sore anymore, and I'm actually like seeing improvements in my skating, improvements in my flexibility and in lift positions, and my overall like mental clarity, and my sleep is better, and it's just really helping my skating.
Well, it sounds wonderful. You guys make me want to try it, but I hate getting sweaty. I hate like feeling sweaty. It grosses me out. I'm like sweating with strangers. I'm like, why are you sweating near me? Go away.
There are times when I put my feet on the floor and they slip, and I'm like, ooh, it's a little sweaty, a little gross.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I'm gonna have to really prepare myself if I ever do that. But you said earlier, Caitlin, that you did have a hard time after the 2011 season. So I'm wondering for other skaters, because I'm sure there's unfortunately so many skaters out there who are going through a breakup, feeling like you did at the end of that season, and you were so happy now. You seem to be in such a great spot. So what did you learn from that time in your life, and what advice do you have for a skater who is going through a hardship like you experienced?
I learned that in life there are always a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and you really just need to learn to ride the wave, ride the roller coaster, ups and downs, and just go with it, and know that no matter how bad it gets, it will always have an equal opposite reaction. It'll get better, and there will be a moment in your life where you'll be like, wow, I can't believe I was that sad for that long. And, I don't know why I went through that or why it happened, but I mean, it'll all make sense. It just, you need to take time and really take care of yourself. I think when you go through a hardship, it's very important to have a lot of self-reflection and really focus on you and what your needs are, and just know that everything will be okay, and really try to have a great support system, because that'll help you get through it.
Really sound advice. My final question, so Dave asked about the Olympics in 2014, which I'm sure you and Josh are busy preparing for, hoping for. In an ideal world, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years, and what do you want to do when you leave the sport?
Ooh. Okay. In 5 to 10 years, well, I would say in 5 years, ideally, I guess I would like to be, the favorite for the next team. I mean, that would be pretty cool. And maybe like in 10 years, do shows and continue doing something with the sport, maybe coach or choreograph or help do like seminars and everything, and really try to get the pairs program back up and running and fruitful and really good again for the United States, because I think that there are a lot of talented skaters out there that can really help this section of our sport flourish, and I think it's kind of overlooked right now, and I really want to help American pairs get back on track. And if I can do that myself competing, I would be honored and thrilled, and I would love to do that. And if I can't do that as a competitor, I would love to do that as a coach or a mentor, or really just help out the skating community. And obviously I want to finish school and everything, and have a beautiful family some way down in the future.
Well, I think you have such a bright future ahead of you. This was so much fun. I love talking to you, and I think you're so mature, and you have a really good head on your shoulders, and you are going to do anything you want in this life. I have no doubt you're going to accomplish so much.
You have such a good energy about yourself.
Yeah, this was fun.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I loved this.
Well, good. Well, we're going to end on another fun note. We always end our interviews asking our interviewees different names, and so we want you to tell us the first thing that comes to your mind when we say this name. So okay. I am going to start with your coach, Marina Zueva.
Intimidating. No.
She does seem kind of
she's
intimidating.
Wonderful. I love her.
Johnny Johns.
He's funny. He's hilarious.
Love that. Okay, Meryl Davis.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
Charlie White.
Energetic.
Tessa Virtue.
Phenomenal.
Scott Moyer.
Tenacious.
And this is our last one. Dave calls this our Oprah moment. Are you ready for it? We've never done this before. Caitlin Yankowskas.
Oh boy. Happy to do this interview.
Oh, very good answer. Well, Caitlin, this is awesome. You're awesome. And we wish you the best of luck this season. We're going to be following you all throughout the summer, all your competitions. And you're welcome to come back and talk to us anytime. This is really a lot of fun.
Yeah, we can't wait to see your new programs. So
I know. I'm so excited. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for interviewing me. This was great.
We'd obviously like to thank Caitlin Yankowskas for all of her time and insight today. I know that when we started this podcast, the names of the top 5 people that we really wish to talk to this season, Caitlin Yankowskas was at the very top of that list. So this is such an absolute thrill for both Jenny and myself.
And she has such a great head on her shoulders. She is so wise beyond her years, and I think she's an inspiration for so many athletes, particularly pair skaters who may be going through a split right now, feeling like, will it ever get better? Will I ever find that joy again? And I think she's just such an example that you can go through it all, you can go through the tough times, but you can come out the other side. And that was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, she has such a great spirit. I can't wait to see their programs. They did an exhibition last year at Skate for Hope, and they had like little dance lifts in their program, and it was really like sexy, and it was great. And I really think that we need to go do Bikram yoga with her. I think that you need to get over your sweating issues because we need to do yoga with Caitlin.
I think my issues would be fine if like you and Caitlin were on either side of me and I knew the sweat that was sloshing around on my mat was your sweat and Caitlin's sweat. That was okay. It's the strangers that gives me a little bit of heebie-jeebies, but that's another episode. Anyway, we'd obviously also like to thank Kevin Kwasniewski for our graphics and all of you guys for tuning in and watching the podcast. You can always email us, send us comments. We love your feedback. We really take it seriously, and we're always looking for any ways that we can improve and make this a better product for you guys.
Yes, and we are on iTunes. It's The Skating Lesson, all one word. We are so thrilled to be on iTunes. So
Check us out there. Yeah, it's exciting. Good things are happening.
Yes, as always, we'd like to remind all of you to hold an edge and look sexy. Bye, guys.
Bye.